Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the PvP tier list in Outerplane, and I want to start with, let's call it the top 100. So if we go to the top 100, we see a lot of common faces like Stella and Cindy, but we also see Leo, of course, which is a big surprise to me, and Veronica, normal, Alice, less than expected, but still viable. And if you go to it, most of the units you will see are actually not Leo. Actually, you see a lot of Leo in the top 10, but Stella, Veronica, and Cindy are basically what people are mostly using. And the reason is kind of clear. I will talk about it soon. We will go through the list first. And here, Honeyball, Serum, surprising. So I will name the surprises, which surprised me a bit. Not really, because they are on paper not that bad, but that people are actually trying it is cool. So Edit, only one player. I think Edit is with Stella out kind of dead, because why use Edit if you can use Stella, right? And using both kind of limits this support like Cindy's and stuff, or hard cleaver like Wynn. And yeah, so not many Sigmas actually, might be because of the defense. I don't like Sigma in the defense as much as I would. You can see I struggle a bit. I'm using a cleave lineup mostly, and I'm using it mostly because I'm tired of dying to Veronica solo, right? Like Veronica solo sometimes 1v3 or 1v2 your team because of the barrier. And I got so tired of it. I was like, please, I just want to get it over fast with Arena. So yeah, I think not many surprises here. You see your Stella, but Alice, you don't see them a lot. It's like as higher you go, you see it's not really a big difference of units, and it makes sense. It makes sense to use the best defense overall, right? You might switch it up, but the enemy can switch it up as well. So it's hard to make an optimal defense, or it's at least the optimal defense is... There's not a big tier. The tier list has not many units. It will change with real-time arena, but as you can see here, there's not much. There's not a big pool of units you can really utilize to climb effectively. Let's say it like that. Yeah? Okay, I think you saw now the top 100 of Asia1. And yeah, this will make it far easier to talk about my tier list. So yeah, Leo's the biggest surprise, like I said. Noah, you have Wynn. The big difference between Noah and Wynn, from my point of view, is that Wynn has a bit higher initial damage with the S3, but the big reason is she applies the critical hit chance before she attacks, and Noah applies it afterwards. So it's far easier to build Wynn with just 50% crit chance without sacrificing other stats, right? While Noah might not even survive after S3. So this is a big difference. But also a big plus for Noah is that she is green and deals exceptionally good damage against Veronica. She's very reliable at killing Veronica. So that's a big plus. And why he's using Noah over Wynn, I can't say for sure. But yeah, maybe he just has his best gear on Noah and thinks, yeah, I don't want to switch gear for Arena. I can't say it, because Noah is currently, in most cases, the worst choice compared to Wynn. Okay? For just the name reasons. So yeah. So now to the tier list. You can see the tier list is not 100% accurate. It's very hard to make an accurate tier list, simply because the PvP meta is kind of shifting. We don't have the best gear yet, but we can exclude some units, right? Because we don't see them in the top 100. It's very simple as that. If there were any units, like all the units in the C tier list, they might be usable to some extent, and there might be some cheese strategies we don't see in the defense of the enemies, but mostly it's a high investment. Many players can't afford to invest highly into them. I think Alpha has a lot of potential. Let's talk about bleed lineups still suffer against Revenge and Theo, right? So bleed, you can't really build bleed. Healers could work, but they usually die, and you want to kill the enemy DPS rather than surviving. You heal less than the enemy DPS deals, kinda, right? Especially if you keep cooldowns in mind. So yeah, I think Dolly is too slow. Yeah, Eliza, her S3 deals way too much less damage. I pushed into her S3 and her S3 deals like no damage. It doesn't scale at all. Yeah, La plays not fast enough, single DPS. The units she can kill, Wynn can kill as well, right? And yeah, all those units, Francesca, good DPS, but I couldn't test them. Let's not talk about them. Snow has potential. Snow could get higher, right? Snow, we could put Snow higher potentially. Dolly, maybe if the meta slows down, becomes viable, right? But then I think she should deactivate Revenge. I'm not sure. She should deactivate Revenge because Silence deactivates passive. So Dolly might become a sleeper. Yeah, Dolly could be a sleeper. I'm not sure about that. Alpha, yeah, Revenge. She has to stun the key units to be useful. She's too slow. She dies probably before she gets her turn. But still a lot of units with potential. Keep that in mind for real-time arena in the future. So yeah, it's not a lot of units, and we didn't see a lot of units. I think Eternal also could be pushed down. I don't think Eternal is viable. She can punish to units, enemies who don't... She can punish enemies who don't have any Taio, who don't have D-Stella, who don't have regular Stella, right? But everyone has them. So, sorry. I think I'm putting them viable doesn't mean they are good, right? It just means they are clearly better than C. So let's start. D-Stella, of course, revenged, deals a ton of damage, pushed Valentine out of the meta, prevents a lot of units of gaining weight, right? It's crazy. Super good unit. And yeah, overall, what can I say? S1 is AoE, S2 passive is AoE, S3 is AoE, and is a stun that ignores... Petrified is basically a stun that ignores with silence, right? So super amazing. Veronica, yeah, I think we don't have to talk much about Stella. I mean, the exclusive equipment is good as well. It reduces dark element damage taken, but as you can see, the only dark element in the tier list currently is Sigma. So not that important. We can check, what was it again with exclusive on her? D-Stella exclusive equipment. 20 action points. It helps, and it's when she uses her S1, right? And if she counters, it counts as well. So she generates a lot of burst, she generates a lot of AP, but the costs are also kind of high. So, but she can reliably put a barrier on. She's like a Veronica, but the barrier is not as broken as and behind her burst, right? So, yeah. So with that out of the way, D-Stella, very good unit. Everyone in Arena probably experienced it already. Her damage is not that high actually, but it's very high for a unit that is that tanky, right? I see many people building her on evasion. I'm still testing her on HP because I never had the feeling that evasion made a difference when my enemy had evasion on her. Like, first of all, enemies have Cindy's, right? You can see a lot of Cindy, so I think evasion is not that good as long as Cindy is in the pool. And secondly, HP scaling, right? It's like if you go evasion already and you are sacrificing HP and the potential damage. Some go all in on attack, I don't know, I didn't test it. I never felt really... D-Stella is super strong, but I feel like unless she is 6 and has a barrier, she's manageable, right? The barrier is another thing. Let's not talk about that. Barrier makes her own S tier. Veronica, let's talk about Veronica. Veronica's passive S2, the barrier is super broken, especially in defense where you get punished as an attacker. The problem really is with her S barrier. I lost to it so many times. My D-Stella survived, my Veronica survived, but this barrier it just doesn't. I just couldn't outpace the barrier, right? The barrier is so broken. Veronica can be used in all content. She can use solo meteors. There's nothing. It feels like there's nothing Veronica can't do. I mean, barrier is technically healing, right? At least in arena. If she survives and you win or Noah dies, you basically lost, right? You basically lost. If Veronica survives and you only have 2 or 3 units and two of them are not DPS, there's a high chance you are still losing the round. And that's why I think Veronica is actually better in defense, but this Stella is also might be better in attack, right? And yeah, 630 Stella. So it's very hard. Veronica, this Stella, both very broken, both the top of the food chain. Let's talk about Cindy. Cindy is basically keeping evasion units in check, right? Her 50, is it 50? I'm not sure, but her accuracy buff technically removes evasion from the enemy team for your team, and it secures that your units will hit the attacks, and it's really, really powerful. And the attack buff, you can feel it. It's so much more damage. It's really, really good. And Cindy currently keeps kinda counter units in check, counter evasion units, but not enough. As you can clearly see, everyone is using Veronica, D Stella, Leo is on the rise. So Cindy, really, really good. And actually absolutely needed. Without the meta, the defense teams would become more and more unbreakable. She is kinda, I think I'm currently raising her because I think I need her in my attack to break through the defense, right? Leo, kind of surprising. Many Leos I faced I was able to beat. I think his biggest selling point is that he is usually built on speed, unlike Veronica. And if he's built on speed a bit, with a higher speed than Veronica, enemy Veronica, he can ult before the enemy Veronica ults, right? So I attacked a lot into Leo and I was not able to use my ult because it would be kind of wasted except for the defense buff. So he can buy a wall turn for your team, right? So I'm kind of surprised, but it kind of makes sense, right? Especially in defense, where you want to deal with the enemy DPS and then just stall the enemy with your bulky units. So yeah, Leo, the biggest surprise in the meta right now in Asia1. Let's talk about Wynn and Noah. Wynn, on paper easier to use, especially because she applies a crit hit before she ults, before ultimate damage applies. So you can kind of guarantee to quit always, right? With Noah, her quit rate buff is applied after the ult, which makes it a bit So without Valentine, with D Stella and regular Stella, Theo pushing Valentine out of the meta, you can see a rise of Wynn over Noah simply because Noah is way harder to build. Like, you maintaining 100% crit rate while also dealing enough damage and being fast enough, and even some have evasion, is very, very hard. Crit rate in this game is way harder than in Epic 7. Unless you don't go for speed, for example, on your talisman, but who does it? Some do, okay? Fair point. Like, yeah. So use Wynn if you are not using Valentine, and if you use Valentine, you can as well use Noah. If you saw the arena top 100 in Asia1, you saw Noah being used by the top 1. Could be many reasons, right? Like, especially it's very, very good gear. But the one point Noah has over Veronica is, of course, a single target DPS, especially against enemy Veronica. So, yeah. If you want to deal with Veronica, Noah is better. But, yeah, we have still the crit rate issue. Theo, Valentine were SS before. They bought fun off. Theo especially because you have the Stella now, who can punish Valentine really, really hard. And Theo is still really, really good. Like, I think she's too low here. I think she must be at least here, right? But you see far less Theos now in Arena than you used to before. Like, every team had Theo. Now that's not the case anymore, right? So Theo is still very, very good. But because many many teams actually, like, if you see, let's check my team, which is only top 200 sadly right now. I should push harder, I guess, but I'm losing a lot of fights actually, surprisingly, where I expected to not lose them. Yeah. And yeah, ranking info, right? Yeah. You can see I'm using these. I'm using Stella and I'm switching Veronica or Sigma up. Kinda depends on the situation, right? And as you can see, Tio not that often anymore, right? You can still see her, but not often anymore. And yeah, many people, like, if you see my team, of course, Sigma is 2 and Veronica can accidentally apply debuffs, and even Stella, but not on the first turn. I can prevent using my debuffs on turn 1 without losing power. And yeah, that's simply the reason why I say Tio is not that reliable anymore. Many people are not using Valentine anymore, and it's basically, it's simple as that. If there are less units who automatically apply debuffs, then the value of Tio decreases, right? It might change soon again, but Tio, I don't know, is not a must-have anymore. So Sigma, as you saw in my lineup, I use Sigma. Not many are using Sigma in the defense. But it could be a big difference in the attack. I'm not sure. We can't see the enemy attack teams, but the power of Sigma is she basically is needed for cleave teams because Valentine can't be used, right? You can use S2, of course, but she doesn't push. Sigma push your whole team by 10% if there are 4 units in the enemy team, and that is a big difference. So, and she doesn't trigger Revenge or Tio, right? So Sigma basically can secure, in my team, she secures that my Wynn goes first, my Stella goes first, and my Veronica goes before the enemy Veronica, right? So that's the big thing about Sigma. She doesn't deal a lot of damage. She doesn't survive after turn 1 because she's so squishy. She's really only used for S3 and then bye-bye. Like, you could go for exclusive equipment, but you don't even need exclusive equipment. She doesn't survive anyway. So just use her S3, use your other units, yeah. And here, Valentine dropped to S. Why is she still in S? Simply, her buff is still usable. It's still a very, very good buff. And more importantly, how do I say it? She's checked by the top units, but as soon as the top units are not top anymore, Valentine could easily go into SS tier again, right? It's basically the reason why Valentine is not used that much anymore is of D-Stella. But if D-Stella falls off because of whatever reason, Valentine replaces it, right? It will go like this. They will switch places, right? So Valentine is kinda super strong unit. Currently, a lot of units deal with her, but Valentine will definitely play a big part in RTA. If not in the first picks, at least in the later picks. If you can punish enemies who have no debuffs, very hard. Who have no Tio or D-Stella, very hard, because of the high damage she deals, and she enables a lot of units. But yeah, it's more of respect. I could put her at A2. It's like, it's more a respect thing of Valentine and what her potential is. She can punish a lot of metas. Yeah, Stella. In my old PvP tier list, it was completely different. I overrated speed a lot. Stella, kind of similar to D-Stella, they both have the revenge ability. Stella scales off speed, but has lower initial damage, let's say it like that. This proportional to speed, proportional to blah 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 is basically, yeah, we deal initially less damage, so deal with it. Like Snow, for example, who has basically the exact same ability as Valentine S3, right? But Snow scales off speed. She deals initially less damage than Valentine. It's kinda a joke. And it's the same with Stella. She deals initially less damage, and you kinda need to build up speed, yeah, to deal damage. And yeah, so Stella, kinda similar role. They both pushed Valentine out of the meta. They both have the revenge ability, which punishes the enemy team when there's a debuff applied. Stella has a very strong single target DPS that steals damage, that steals buffs, right? But this Stella has a 50% damage reduction on single target. If she gets attacked by a single target, she only receives 50% of the damage. So the real deal is here, if I see an enemy team with Valentine, of course, instant. I put instantly Stella, D-Stella, and sometimes Tio, and just enjoy the show, right? It's like auto show, boom, 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 you're basically dead. But against regular teams, I still use her sometimes to deal with Veronica, because I think my Stella deals around 8k crit damage if she hits the enemy Veronica, and that's kinda, she can deal alone with, of course she needs other units that AoE damage, but her damage is enough to deal with the enemy Veronica, right? So it's a overrated and underrated unit at the same time. I think A tier is really, really good on her. It's where she should be, and yeah, like she can be so strong, but at the same time, she keep in mind she belongs to the top 4 fastest units. So like Sigma, she is Sigma, Valentine, Stella, and who's the last one? Eliza, right? They are the fastest unit, and that's the advantage. Stella goes before Wynn and Noah, right? So really, really good unit, but not a good cleaver, and yeah, it's hard to evaluate her right now. I'm using her, so she might, for me, she's S tier. Alice? Alice is a hard thing. The problem with Alice is she got buff, which is really, really good. She's now reliable, and she applies speed buff. And I think if I calculated it correctly, if she gets a speed buff with exclusive equipment on the person, she starts first. So you can secure her to start first, right? And she prevents the enemy. Let's check her skill buff again. I don't even have her, sadly. Can you believe that? I don't have her. And I'm too stupid. Here we are. And I never fought Alice, actually. So where is she? So here we can see Alice. And skill info, yeah, unbuffable on the S3. Then this one gives you an extra turn, right? Inflict reduced effectiveness, okay. So you can have 2 attacks, right? This one, you have 2 attacks, you have 2 cleaves, which probably don't deal a lot of... I never fought an Alice, actually. Is that crazy? I never fought an Alice, because it's so high investment. And so you can see, removes buffs from all enemies and attacks them. So basically she can remove the barrier of D-Stella. Sounds really, really good, right? And afterwards reduce effectiveness, and then she gets her extra turns, does unbuffable on the enemies, right? Inflicts unbuffable. And this one triggers, this ability actively triggers Tio, right? So yeah, you could say this one triggers Tio, you get your extra turn. I'm not sure if you get your extra turn or if the Tio priority goes first. But basically, in theory, she sounds incredibly strong. You go into AS2, trigger Tio. You don't give a damn because she goes to turn again. Then you apply Unbuffable, making the enemies Cindy and Valentine useless, basically. And then you, yeah, just win, right? So on paper, she sounds very, 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 very good. But I don't see her. I don't have her. I can't use her. So I don't see her, I don't use her. It's all like in Discord we talked so long about it, like everyone like, oh, she's so versatile, I'm not. And I asked like, yeah, but no one is testing her. You didn't test it. It's all theoretical. So in theory she's really, really good. No one tested her. Except for the few in arena, right? That we saw. I think 2-3 people. I wish I could do that, but I don't have Alice. So moving on to Seren. So Seren, we saw some Serens. She has a high probability of surviving cleave, a very, very high, and she can kind of reset. Like if you're D-Stella, if she survives with D-Stella or Veronica, she can reset them with their ultimate. She can push priority. She sounds on paper really, really strong. Problem with her is the long cooldowns, right? She has a very long cooldowns on her abilities, and yeah, I think like Leo, it's kind of surprising. So because I see her, I think I can understand her potential, but I never had a problem with Saren. Against Saren, right? Never a problem. Yeah, so 8 tier, but can't talk much about it. I'm currently raising one. I think she's now level 92. I will push her to 100, but I don't want to waste skill books on her, so yeah. I'm waiting for the new guild raid before I'm wasting more skill books. So Honeyball, I used resource on her, pushed her to 100 and tested her. We saw some people using her in the defense. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on her, but I didn't have her exclusive. And another thing is I didn't have many skill books to test her properly, right? I think she is very, very strong. What I felt like was she has not a high HP pool, especially if you go on defense, because she scales on death. And another problem is she her S3 triggers the S3, which you want to go S2 into S3, and that takes 2 whole turns, right? And her counter attack is not that strong. Like, it sounds nice on paper, but first of all, it's only single target, and I'm not sure if it's on 100%, but 3% priority push is not a lot. I mean, she punishes a lot of cleavers, right? But the Stella, Veronica kind of deal with them too. Like, I tested her, I resetted her, and I'm not sold on her currently. So I have to face some Honeyballs who blow my mind before I can judge her. But currently, and I'm not sure if she starts with S2 or S3 in arena on defense, right? So we have to see. I put an A out of respect for the people who picked her, but like I said, Wona, same case. I think Wona would be better because Wona has a strong S3, Wona has a sustain, and Wona attacks 2 targets when she counters. So even she's a better dual attacker than Honeyball. If you talk dual attack with Veronica, so she is better. Yeah, if I put Honeyball there, I have to put Wona over. So viable Edith, kinda dead. Many people pushed her, but currently, what do you want with Edith, right? Like, if you have this Stella, if you have Veronica, you already have 2 anchors in your team. Edith is single target. Edith doesn't deal that much of damage. Enemies are utilizing Cindy because of the Stella and Veronica. It's a very, very hard time for Edith, but viable question mark it is. Eternals, problem with revenge, not really viable, but if she applies I don't like Eternal there, honestly. I never lost to Eternal. I lost once to Eternal. So it's only because she can deal with beefy units, right? But Noah and Wynn can do it as well. I would not use Eternal. I put it there. I should not put it there. I shouldn't put it there. So C tier, I'm not sure if I talked about it already. No. Same problem as Valentine. Deals worse damage than Valentine, even though she scales off speed. Still deals less damage. Has no buff plus. Exclusive equipment sounds really, really nice. But other than that, Theo, Revenge, Stella. Nah. Eliza, S3 deals no damage, split team not viable because of the debuff, because of the Stella White. Dolly sleeper? Might be a sleeper. I think Dolly could turn off the triggers, right? Because silence triggers, silence prevents passives. So Dolly could be actually be good again, right? Like, we used her all in PvE, but she could also slowly become viable in PvP. We must check it before, right? But if Dolly is viable, you can as well use Alice. So when someone has to test it, I don't have enough resources yet. Then other than that, you have too many units which can be replaced, right? Like, we didn't see any maxwell in top 100. It's like, basically, these units, we did not see any serious team in the top 100, right? So that's the reason they are in C tier. Okay. This video is already 30 minutes, and yeah, like I said, tier list is not easy to make. A, S, and SS tier could change every week, every day, right? It depends on what the people want to use. And I think of thinking like that is okay. Like, we have many options in S tier. Valentine could be lower, Sigma could be lower, Noah could be lower, Wynn could be as S tier, Leo could be as S tier. But I think this is okay to say that this is a tier list of June. Let's see what the tier list will be in 1 month, right? In July. Okay, thank you for watching, guys. Have a good time, and yeah, see you soon.